graduated from high school. I ended up going to Benedict College in '79, and once I got there, Benedict had just received the ROTC program because it used to be at USC. So one of my friends said, he was in, and he said, "Man, come on, let's join ROTC." I said, "I'm not joining ROTC. I'm not doing that." So he stayed at me, and then one of the instructors was talking to me, so I decided to try it. And I was like, you know what, I'm going, for 2 years, just freshman and sophomore year, you can just try it, and once you get that junior year, you start receiving a check. So I'm like, that sounds pretty good. Still not thinking, and I didn't know anything about it, but, I wasn't fortunate to grow up with a bunch of money and that kind of thing, and, my mom was doing everything she could to get me through school. So, junior year, I signed a contract and start receiving a little money. And I'm like, wow, this is pretty good. Not knowing then that after that junior, senior year, you owe, a military obligation to serve. So that's how I end up going into the military. I got commissioned, commission officer, and end up going to the military. I got a commission when I got the commission, I really was thinking, I said, well, if I'm going to do it, I would like to get me a job behind the desk somewhere, finance or personnel or something like that. Well, I got combat engineer, and that just, that was dealing with explosives. We did all the combat stuff, from explosive to bridging to everything. And I'm talking live explosion, TNT, demolition, everything. So I had to go to, once you get that, I had to go to officer basic course. And and that was tough because engineering is something dealing with a lot of numbers and formulas and that kind of thing. But I overcame, got through the basic course, and then I ended up going to airborne school. Went to airborne school to jump out of a plane. I don't know why, but I did. So, but and I did. It was a good experience for me. Not knowing that, and I never went in saying I'm going. Some people's in a career, whatever. It was a good experience. The time that I served, I enjoyed it. Served during Desert Storm. I went overseas. A lot of the missions that we had, I used to deal missions with blowing up stuff. We used to put bridges across places, and it gave me a sense of confidence that, and I knew you asked the question about the medals and stuff like that. I didn't know what the medal was until they gave it to me. I don't know what Army this was or whatever, but I always was in a leadership role. As far as getting commissioned, I was in a leadership role from day one. I stepped into a unit, and you got a person that been in the military for 30 years basically, and now he's looking at me kind of say, I'm a young guy out of college. He looked at me saying, "Sir," and that was experience because there was some that was hard to deal with. Well, couldn't deal with young person, and they done had 30 years or whatever, so that was and so, but you when you learn to get along and you work, and one of the things that always have driven me were, when I look back over my career as military and now, and the military lead me up to now, is I always was in charge of someone's child. Okay, when it was, I was in charge of the child, had to work with the child with explosive, and that always weighed on me because I'm saying I am responsible in a sense for someone's child, and even today, I deal with, and he can tell you too, I deal with children now from 3 to 12, and I'm still responsible, and that's my main goal, was to make sure the safety of anybody's children. I can get any kind of award it is that to be the safety of someone's child is my main goal and priority. Anytime you deal with explosive, is dangerous. And I was talking live explosive. I have known several incidents where we be training, and in one particular incident we were training, and I really don't like to talk about them too much because it didn't end it well. But it was training, and we had this thing called a blasting cap and a blasting machine. Okay, and you're training, and a lot of times you have a test blasting machine, and soldier end up, and one of the NCOs he thought he was giving him the test machine, but he ended up giving him the blaster machine. And some people was downrange testing, and we call this thing called a testing the line to make sure everything is connected, the circuits and everything is connected. Well, the kid was playing with it, and he thought it was the blaster test machine, and ended up killing some people. And that kind of stuck with me for a while. So when I came from Germany, one time I taught at the engineering school, and that was at Fort Belvoir. So I had to teach again. You had to teach the new officer coming through, just like I came through at Fort Belvoir. So we had to teach them, demolition, and how to cut down a tree with demolition, how to blow up a road with demolition called a crater, how to. We used to have to. It was just all kinds of ways how you actually make explosive. I used to make it, with fertilizer, and I don't want to go through that. You can put that in the paper. Somebody might decide to do that, but I'm just telling you. I can tell times where I used to build a bridge across the Potomac River, or where we was at in Germany, the Rhine River. You build a bridge, floating bridge, all kinds of stuff. Build bridges. It's cold. Oh my God, you're talking cold. I have seen in Germany almost 3 seasons in one. It can be snowing right here, and over there it's sunshine. Yeah, so that's just how the weather is there. I used to, as an officer, spanking brand new lieutenant in Germany, we get these duties. I had to do certain duties. One of the duties I had to do was called a pay officer. And I'm talking thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars that I was in charge of, that had to bring back to the unit, and got to pay every person that at the time that during that time they had check the bank and all that stuff, and a lot of soldiers did not like their money going to them. They want their money in their hand. So I had to go pick up that money, come back and pay them, and you look around like I got all this money, So those are some good things. From there to going notifying a parent, and you knock on their door that your son was killed or something like that. I had to do that too. I had those duties too. Yeah.
I imagine that was
one tough thing too. You got to go notify somebody that their child was killed or whatever. Yeah.
He's been off from Marty's to combat engineering. Those folks was expendable. You know what I mean? And one of the most dangerous outfits you could be in. A lot of times you would call on, and this combat engineering, and there was nobody to provide defense for you. You had to provide your own defense. If you wind up into a situation where you got to get some tanks or some troops across the river, you got to do it. And sometime across the river, your enemy may be across the river, and you have no one over there to protect you. But the mission is you got to get bridges across that river. Yes, it was that combat engineering. I wouldn't tell nobody that I knew anything about building because I didn't want nothing to do with engineering.
Well, you said that, but when I said I was gonna be an engineer, right? I was like, then he's the combat engineer. Guy called me in the office and he said, "Okay, Mack," he said, "we got your assignment back." He said, "You're gonna be an engineer," and I was like, "Wow, I'm gonna be dealing with blueprints and dealing with the house, whatever." And then next thing you know, it's a combat engineer. And I was like, "Oh," and I tried everything I could to get out of that thing, but I just couldn't. But I made the best of it. It was tough. Sometimes it was tough, but I would never, when I look back at it, it had made me a better person. Like I said, with the responsibility and the confidence that I developed, and the leadership. It just is one of the biggest things and I use that in everything I do these days. When I was coaching, some part of the military was there, dealing with coaching. Today, dealing with, you have 8-7 people working under you, or for you, however you want to call it. You got to know how to deal with it. You got 10 people, you got 10 different personalities that you're dealing with. So I said that again, military helped me with that, because when I was a ranking second lieutenant, I'm in charge of a platoon. I got 40 people, 40 different personalities. Next thing you know, you're a company commander. Not only just one platoon, now you got 4 of those, 40-some people that you are in charge of. So you got to know how to deal with it, and so that helped me now. From there to now, that has really helped me tremendously.